welcome back, part 2. So, we were talking, or I was waffling in the first half about why photography is the dogs. And we're going to try and figure out why it is. And I'm saying I think predominantly it's because it's instantaneous, and we think, we dream, we imagine in pictures, not words, not smells, not anything else. We dream, think, imagine, create in pictures. Sometimes in moving pictures, but generally speaking, pictures. And because of that, when we see a picture, and scientifically, it's the fastest way to get anything to trigger us. Science have proven that, they say. We, therefore, are smashed in the face when we see a picture. Now, it might be that you're in a real good mood, you've had a buzzing day, you're fucking tripping, it's been great, you've come home, you're flicking through social media, and somebody posts a picture, and emotionally, it hits your last nerve. And your emotions are flipped. You've gone from being happy, relaxed, brilliant, to angry, upset, whatever it is, because of that instant impact. And whilst you will get that emotional impact probably from sound, from moving images, from smells, from what you read, from the written word, all those things take a bit more time to get into your psyche and into your being, which means whilst you're doing that, you're also absorbing other influences, other things, people talking at you, reading something else, sound from you haven't had a split second to have an emotion triggered. You've had an emotion triggered, then it's a bit of time to absorb everything else that's going on. So it's perhaps watered down a little bit. And by the time you've stopped and thought about it, or stopped and absorbed that impact, it's different to what it was if you'd just seen it. I think it is that for me. I just think it is that instant. We're subconsciously wired to visualize things. We see visual things the quickest, or we process them the quickest, and boom, it's there. And like I said, generally speaking, when I see a photograph, I'm not taken back to the era. I don't hear a music and go, oh, sorry. When you hear music, you'll go, oh, God, yeah, madness, 1980s, oh, my God, when it was so much better then because we could do blah, blah, blah. It doesn't take me back to a dance floor, to a split second in time where something was happening or I was looking at something, or it doesn't do that. It gives me a general playing field, music. When you're watching a film, you might go, oh, God, yeah, remember, we watched that, we sat on the settee, we all had burgers and whatever it was. Doesn't take you back to a split time. When you get a smell, you walk into somebody's house, it smells like my grandma's, takes you back to your grandma's house, but it doesn't take you back to a split second in time. The only thing that does that is photography. Or am I wrong? Hopefully I'm not wrong, but I think that's what it is. It's that direct connection, the speed of it, and our hardwiredness to live visually. And absorb that. The absorption of it is so instant, your brain doesn't have time to take in all the other things that could influence it. Like I said with me, for Shep, say a picture of my dog Shep, bang, I'm back in my studio when he's 6-8 weeks old. Not, back in 2008 when I got him, and what was it like then? It's a different recall. So I thought, well, we'll have a look in this section. We'll have a look at a few pictures that I did dig out. And this one again for me. I mean, Kirsty's going to kill me when she hears this, because she will. Because this is another holiday where I'm just taking pictures. But when I look at this picture, eventually it takes me back to the beautiful holiday I had with Kirsty last year in Rome. Eventually it takes me back to that week where it was just great, fucking red hot, like unbelievable hot. But it still instantly takes me back to the Trevi Fountain, that red hot day, seeing these two girls doing a selfie and taking the picture. Doesn't take me back to that week, it takes me back to that time. Now that's probably because I took the picture, so I've got an emotional link. And I'd say that probably about all my pictures. doesn't take me back so much to the shoot or to the day or to the week, month. It just takes me back to that moment, because I can pretty clearly remember those moments most of the time. So yeah, I'm not directly taken back to Rome. I'm taken back to the Trevi Fountain that second. And I can even remember a little bit either side of that. Because I took a handful of pictures around that time where people were taking selfies. I can't remember the smell. I can remember the heat because it was hot. I can't remember much else about it, to be honest with you, apart from seeing that shot and thinking, that was great, I'm going to take that. And now this shot here of the fabulous Amy is now a TV presenter in Dubai, one of those places. But at this point she was an aspiring model. This is 2010. And I was reminded of this because I've been editing a few short videos for shorts of some behind the scenes stuff that I've done over the years, and Amy is in one of those videos. And she was a great versatile model. But as soon as I saw the video, the first kind of set that I thought of was not the bit I was looking at, it was this, which was a little bit into the set, wasn't the first look. And because at this point, Amy did a thing of going crazy. She was jumping about and being a lunatic, completely straight-faced. And as a photographer, I couldn't ask for any more than that, because she was just, giving me, took 100 pictures, could have used them all, but she was just vibrant. So as soon as I saw the video clips of this day, my brain went straight to this set, and that's one of my favourites from the set. And again, it's hard to describe, I think. Unless you're a photographer, it's hard to understand. I can probably remember taking every one of those pictures, because she was jumping and I was clicking and it was vibing, there was music on, the makeup was just offset. It was like bong, bong, for like 10 minutes. And that's what I remember when I look at this picture. Now, the video that triggered it, triggered it pretty quickly. I looked at it, I watched like 20 seconds of it, and then I was like, oh, yes, I remember this. Then I went straight to that. So it wasn't an instant thing, but when I got to these pictures, when I went to the folder and got these pictures out, I went straight to that set and opened it up, and it's like, yeah, it is how I remembered it. And still now, 15 minutes. I wish it was 15 minutes. 15 years on, it's still some of my favourite work, because not just because of I like the shots, they're good shots. Just that vibe, that immense kind of like feeling of when it comes together. Model, makeup, hair, nails, photographer, light. I had a couple of assistants that day who were filming it and stuff. Oh, man, that was a good day. That was one of those real good days. So when I see that edit from that set, that's the kind of set that I'm looking at, or what I feel kind of really does give me the big vibe. And, this one of Bob Geldof, I'm sure many of you, particularly British listeners, UK listeners, will have heard of Bob Geldof. Bob Geldof, Sir Bob Geldof, was the guy that did Live Aid and all that. And I have mixed feelings about Sir Bob. On the one hand, I liked him back in the day, what he was doing was good, but I've heard some stuff about him over the years which makes me think, Anyway, on this particular day, I was doing some work. I lived in Manchester. I was doing a bit of work for local press, and I went to this. It was opening it was promoting a truancy app for students who are truant, so parents could find out. Everybody uses them now, but at the time, 2009-10, it was a bit new. And I'd done that bit, and all the other journalists and photographers there took the pictures and bugged off, and I just thought, I'm going to hang around and say to him, Bob, while you're here, could I get a few pictures for me? I expected him to say, Burkitt, get on your horse. But he didn't. He went, sure, absolutely. And he walked back 50 yards and he walked towards me doing different poses, and I spent 2 or 3 minutes taking his picture, shook hands and said, thanks, Bob. And he went, that's all right, mate. And I thought, doesn't happen like that very often. So when I see this picture of Bob, or any from this set that I did of Bob, I'm kind of taken back to that interaction, not the fact I was being paid by the press to come and do some coverage of the event as such. It was just me and Bob for 3 minutes, and that's what I remember. I don't remember how I feel about him now. I don't remember how I felt about him then. I just remember that interaction from me to him at that time was pleasant, professional, friendly, welcoming, and I can say no more than that, other than if I'd have asked him to do something for me, I would have asked him to do what he did, but he did it off his own back. So that instant link for me just goes back to that frame. And that's probably my favourite picture because he looks quite, I think he's trying to look confident, but he actually looks a little bit vulnerable, I think, in that shot. So that's why I like that one so much and why I picked it out to set. Now, I'm gonna get one from. I'm gonna look at one from a recent holiday because I can. Athens was one of those places. I spoke about this in the other podcasts, earlier podcasts, so I won't harp on about it. I won't drone on about it. But Athens was a place where I never thought I'd go because I was scared to fly. And I've always had a thing for ancient ruins and history and all that wondrous stuff that's hidden from us. And when Kirsty suggested going to Athens, once I got over the stupid, ridiculous fear of flying, I was like, yeah, where do I sign? And being on the Acropolis, I'm not going to drone on about because I talked about this time, but being on the Acropolis for me as a young working class lad from Rotherham who grew up with fucking nothing, spent most of my adult life with nothing, to work to a place where I could afford to go here, still blows my mind. When I see this picture, I'd think, oh my God, I'm on the Acropolis. But when I see all of these pictures, particularly this one of the Parthenon, it sounds quite ridiculous, but I'm not transported back to the Acropolis on that fucking roasting hot sunny day looking at this fucking wonder. I'm transported back to the hotel room that evening when we'd been for a meal, we'd had a few beers, we'd gone back to the hotel, it was red hot. Kirsty was just nodding off. I was sitting there with my camera in my hand, looking through pictures, thinking, how did this working class gimp from Rotherham end up here with these pictures of this place? And that's what I think about that. When I see that, I don't think, oh, look at me at the Parthenon. I think to sitting in the hotel room looking at, and I actually posted something on social media at the time about how I felt in that moment. How I'd felt that this working class kid had worked his bollocks off for 30 years to enable himself to get here, to experience things he never thought he would with his beautiful wife, been allowed to be the photographer that he is while he's on holiday. I'm sitting in the hotel room bed, a little bit tipsy, had a few beers, but just generally thinking, feeling grateful to Kirsty for putting us there, for bringing us there, because it all comes down to her. If it was down to me, we'd never go anywhere, because I'm just not built that way. So photography for me is that link to the hotel room in Athens, not to the Acropolis, which is what most people would think. I think you can equate that kind of picture too. That's where photography is massively different to other mediums, because I don't think I'd look at a film that I like or hear a song that I like or smell a smell that I liked and be taken to a place other than exactly where it was. But photography, because photography kind of transcends emotions, it transcends time and place and space, it allows me to go back to a slightly different place, which is linked to that, but not really. Because when I was taking that picture, I wasn't sitting there taking it thinking, oh, tonight I'm going to be sat in the hotel room, half a mile down the road, bit tipsy, reminiscing about this. It was just something that struck me when we got back to the hotel room. I was starting to wind down, starting to relax. I was looking through the pictures. I mean, I've got a lot of other emotions about the Parthenon, etc., which I spoke about in another podcast, so I won't go about it here. But that set of pictures, particularly that one, the corner one of the Parthenon, because it was that picture that made me think that in the bedroom later on. And I challenge anybody. I'm happy to be wrong, by the way, but I challenge anybody to tell me that could happen by hearing a song or a smell or a film. So, yeah, photography for me, I mean, I don't know whether I'm doing a great job here of explaining why I think photography is the greatest medium of all time. I don't, but perhaps it's because I'm addicted to it, perhaps it's because it's my medium. I don't think so. I've been into music as well. I've written songs. I've been a musician. I've done gigs. I've done lots of creative things in my life. I've written a book. I've written academic papers. Tried to write a sitcom once when I was about 28. I thought it was great. My mum was a fucking literature buff. Wanted to say it was great, but said it face told me different. So I've tried and succeeded and failed at all sorts of things. But photography, nothing smacks me in the face like photography does. And I was talking about this a couple of weekends back with my father-in-law. We were just talking generally over a few beers. And I said, you can't beat photography. Photography is the best medium for emotion, to get emotional, to link it to something. So you can't tell me whether you're sober, drunk, or anywhere in between. You can see a picture of something, and doesn't make you go, oh. And he said, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's photography. Songs are great, music's great, films are great, smells are great, places are great. Give me a photograph any day a week for that instant smack in the face. It's like Muhammad Ali's come up and gone, hey, come here, bang. Oof. That's how hard of an impact photography has. 1 single 60th of a second of a place and space in time can trigger you to emote emotions you didn't think you'd got. And I don't believe that music or film or any of the other mediums can do that. Certainly doesn't do it as instantaneously as what photography does, because music takes a few bars, takes a few seconds to hit you, get the sensors working. Smells are the same from what I said. Look at the science, a couple of seconds for you to go. Then you've got to go, oh, where did it, what was it? Film, 25 frames a second, 25 frames a second, 60 a second, whatever it is. Couple of seconds and you've absorbed it with the sound and everything else. But a photograph, as soon as it comes on screen, as soon as it's in your hand, as soon as you see it, bang. Whatever emotion it is it's triggering in you is there. Full on. I'll give you another example here. How photography can link you. You'd think, wouldn't you, this is just a phone shot, this is not a proper camera shot. I'm in New York with the wife. In fact, I'm here again, aren't I? You know, taking the piss out of Kirsty. We're on holiday in New York and I'm talking about photos I took, but this kind of does slightly involve her. We're walking around the Statue of Liberty taking pictures, and there was like, I don't know, there were loads of birds. I don't know what they were, albatrosses or some bird. Loads of birds on this grass. And I was lining up to take a picture of them, and there's people sitting on this little wall around it. And then suddenly, I don't know why, something spooked the birds, and every single one of them, en masse, flew off. And as they were flying, all of them decided to take a shit. Luckily for me and Kirsty, we were just outside of the realm of this shit. But this poor woman in front of us got absolutely bombed with bird shit. And I mean, like, it was like somebody tipped paint over her. And Kirsty's got a very dry sense of humour, so she was instantly laughing, like double over and laughing. And I was trying not to laugh, but was laughing. So when I see any pictures that I took, that Kirsty took, or that whenever I see the Statue of Liberty in general, just think about the history of it, what it really means. We'll do that maybe on another day. I think about these tourists that got covered in shit there. That's the kind of emotional tie for me. And again, I did take some proper pictures of it. When I look at them and I don't think about the picture, I think about those people getting shit on. But again, it's an instant memory. It's an instant smack straight through the paper wall, straight into that moment. Not, oh yeah, do you remember? It's an instant whip. As are most of those kind of pictures. But for me, I mean, I love music. I love music. I'm a big advocate of music. I was a musician for years. And when I'm watching things like a big Beatles fan, so when I'm watching the Get Back documentary, you see them working, putting songs together. I can imagine, for Paul McCartney, to hear a song him and John wrote or whatever, and it comes back and he's there and he might be back in a space, but it's not instant. It's not photographic instant. And I bet when he released his book, which I actually have got, 1 second, when Mr. McCartney released his book, Eyes of the Storm, the other year, I'd like to bet you $1 that when he saw these pictures, he was taken back to that exact moment, not the year or the city or whatever it is kind of engaged in the picture. I'm just trying to find one here now. I mean, he's backstage here and he's got Billy J. Kramer. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. You probably won't. But I bet when he saw that picture for the first time, when they were remaking them from whether it was a dark room or a digital, he'll have been straight there. Again, he's on the beach in the Bahamas with the rest of the Beatles. Sorry. Like that. I bet when he was taking those pictures, it wasn't back in the Bahamas. It was back in that exact moment that he took them. And, I think can't even shut the book now, broken it. And for me, that's the power, the ultimate power of photography. Why it's so much more powerful than all the other mediums out there, all of them bar none. I challenge you to come and bring me a medium that's more powerful, immediate, and crushing than photography. Because I think you'll struggle to find one or any or two. I think it's I always try to not be biased because I'm a photographer, I'm into photography. I always think, come on, Lance, you've probably been a bit biased because you love it. But when I sit and think about it, I've been a musician, I've recorded music, I've written music. And while I love all that what I did, and while when I hear a song of mine I've written, I'm not heard for a bit, I get buzz, I get that little thing. But it's a gradual few minute buzz. It's like a laid back remembrance. When I see a picture like the one I showed you before of us in the gig, I'm like, bang, yeah, fuck me, Dave only just turned up there. And then all the other memories around that come off that. But that's what I think. I don't think, what song am I playing? What chord am I playing? Wonder how far into the gig that is. Hard to tell. I think, fucking Dave. And, the one with the girls on the Trevi Fountain. I'm not thinking beautiful holiday and Kirsty, because it was a beautiful holiday. I'm thinking that second. And the one I showed you, not that one that's in the folder, but the one I showed you about the Acropolis. I don't think of the Acropolis, I think of the hotel. Now I felt later. And there are some pictures that you kind of never forget. And sometimes you're looking through your hard drives or it comes on screen or you just having it's quickly remembered, I think, because you don't forget them. This one here of Rachel, for example, was I was probably 2 years into photography and maybe 3 just. I was still learning and she was a great model and she really helped me. We worked together a couple of years. She pushed me to make something new every time. And just this, I mean, she came on a set with a polka dot top on and some wellies and said, what should we do? I said, I don't know, let's get the blue backdrop out, see what it looks like. And we just had fun. And again, it's great. It's one of my favourite shots ever. One of my favourite fashion pictures I've ever taken. Because of the simplicity, because of the lunacy, because I was learning because I'd started to use just one light. I was getting a bit more technically aware. Rachel was always fun to work with. She's very crazy. Not afraid to try. And if it didn't work, we'd fucking laugh at it. So when I look at that picture now, I don't think of that actual picture. I think of that little period of time when we were that set, we were making that. And I think, yeah, that was one of those movements for me when my work went up a notch. Partly down to my persistence to want to be good and become a better fashion photographer, but always partly down to Rachel's approach to photography, modelling and life, and just let's try it, let's suck it and see, and if it fucking works, it does. If it doesn't, what we lost. And I try now when I'm working to try to work that, because that's how I learn. I think you learn when you just push yourself a bit in the comfort zone. Comfort zone is miserable. And I have to get out of that a little bit more, to be quite honest with you. So, just to recap, I mean, we spoke about what's best: photography, film, music, smells, other senses. And I think I'm hoping I've convinced you it's because of two things that photography wins, and it wins hands down. One is because we're hardwired to think, imagine, dream, visuals. And photography is the only medium out there which gives you a specific point in time, an absolute point in time. Whether it's a 1/8,000th of a second shot or whether it's a 5-second exposure, you're still only looking at one point in time. Instant smack in the face, instantly memories are drawn. Film, you see it, sometimes you go, it's that's that film, and then all the other things come off it. Then you hear the music and all the other things trip in, where you were, who you were with. Music is very similar. You might remember where you were the first time you heard it, or you might remember you were at a party. It might make you think when you used to go raving, but it's a gradual few second, 2, 3, 5 second, 10-second thing, then the memories are there. Same with smells. Sometimes it takes you a little minute to pin down the smell, doesn't it? Kirsty got a new air freshener for our kitchen last week, and I was like, God, it smells. I was convinced it smelled like some exotic Indian curry. And it wasn't, it was just some fucking air freshener. But while I was smelling it, I was thinking, where's that from? I recognise that. But I couldn't pinpoint it. And then the books that I told you about, I got these new books, and they smells like the library in school. But it took me back to a place, not a specific moment in time. And photography, 1,000,000% nails you back to, boom, a place in time. Whether, like I said, it's a literal, you can remember when you took the shot, or you take a bit of a step back and you go, in the fucking hotel that night, and I was thinking about it. That's the connection for me. And, I'm not saying photography is better, really, although I am, because I love film, I love music, I love food and smell and taste. But I don't think you can find anything as instantly impactful, not even just instantly, as impactful as photography. When you see a photograph, I think, you don't look at it and go, I'll deal with that emotion later. When you see a photograph, it's embedded in your brain. You're thinking about it. When you hear a song or smell or see a clip of a movie, it's not in your brain. You can think about that later, I think. I think with photography, you're only thinking about it now. And it might stay with you for the day, but you've seen it for a split second or a minute, whatever it is, and that's stuck with you. You're thinking about it for a certain amount of time. You've not put it back in the back burner, it's there. And I think these are the differences. These are why these are the whys I think photography is the best medium. I would think about it. I would think about your favourite photo, your favourite song, your favourite smell, your favourite movie, whatever it is. And ask yourself, is Lance right, or is he talking bollocks like he normally does? I think you might find that photography is the thing that makes you go, fucking hell, yeah, he's right. I hope it does, because photography, in part of our war on AI, photography needs saving, doesn't it? And this, I think, remembering how good photographs are, what they actually give you, is the thing which I hope will win out. And just on that note, I'm going to show you something. So this is a picture of me when I'm a 7-year-old kid. And I saw this picture on social media, posted by an old school friend, and it fucking immediately took me back to that day, because I can remember having that picture taken like it was yesterday. I can remember being there, how it felt, who was there, what the smell. I can remember it all that day, because I hated having my picture took as a kid, because my fucking hair was horrendous, as you can see. So anyway, going back to the fight on against AI and how it's fucking horrendous, all that. You know how I feel on that. I thought, I'm gonna get AI to upsize this and pretty up, make it so I can see it clearer, because the resolution that whoever scanned it in is terrible, so you can't really see me. So I went on to chat GTP and typed in, what did I put? I put, take this photograph and enhance it to make it look more like me. Something like that. Hit click. Chat GTP. Oh, I can do that, not a problem. Anyway, takes a few minutes. Eventually it comes up. And what do we get? We get... Now, anybody that knows me knows that that's not me. But anybody who's got half a brain and can see that that's not me, I hope you're laughing as much as I was, because it's pretty poor, isn't it? And we might have to get into that again another day, but oh God, fucking hell. So we have to save it. So get people looking at photographs, get people thinking. Is photography the best, by far the best mechanism for emotion, for emotional contact, for feeling, what is it? Which is the best medium in the world? I'm telling you it's photography. Drop in the comments. You tell me what you think. Is it photography? Is it film? Is it sound? Is it something I've not even thought about? Anyway, that's it from me for today. I'll explain why I've been away another time. I haven't really got time today, but it's all about the bad back and stuff. You probably know, because I'll go on about it enough. But hopefully I can now get back to making one a week. There's loads of other stuff going on with the channel. Do look in the post below, because I do post stuff. Drop me an email if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to cover. Please do the old like, subscribe and share. That's just going to help the channel no end. And hopefully, back permitting, I'll see you again next week with another exciting edition of the Lance Burkitt Encounter about God knows what. Cheers all. Have a great week. Thanks for tuning in to the Lance Burkitt Encounter today. I really do appreciate you spending some time with me here in the world of photography, education and reality. If you enjoyed the episode and feel like you learned a bit of something, do me a favour, like, subscribe and share the channel with somebody you feel really needs to hear it. And if you're able to, and if you'd like to, please head over to lanceburkitt.com/shop and treat yourself to some of the Lance Burkitt Encounter merchandise. After all, that's how we're going to keep the channel and the podcast alive and completely independent. Until next time, keep shooting with purpose and stay true to yourselves. Cheers.
You won't believe, yeah. I can't get you out my life, no, no. No, I can't get you out my life, no, no. I can't get you out my life, no, no. No, I can't get you out my life, no, no.
And I've not set them up with cameras away, so I'm going to do it. Jesus fucking wax. First summer, honest to fucking God. Hi, fuck you.